So I'm just going to kind of scroll through and go through some of these and hit some of the key points. It asks, is Active Directory 2008 a requirement for a fully unified strategy? And that is incorrect. Link does not require AD 2008 to be deployed, so it could be 2003. So that really covers that. All right, so there was a question from Roy of what exchange storage requirements are we looking at for this email to voicemail? In the case of what I was demonstrating was Exchange 2010. From a storage requirement, it's a tough call, but we could look at the existing voicemail and we could do some formulas and some calculations. The downside is that the existing voicemail is going to have a threshold that says probably after 90 days or 180 days delete the messages. Typically what I have advised customers on in the past is if you're at 75 to 80% capacity on your storage today from an email perspective and you're going to add enterprise voicemail to the mix, you should consider adding additional storage. And then because it's really tough to define because we need to get into, are you going to force auto archiving? Are you going to do any type of leverage exchange default policy tags and run nightly audits to auto purge voicemails that are older than so many days? So, but it's a discussion we can definitely work with you on. Tina had asked a question around compliance and storage issues. And how can we, I think they're asking, how can we turn off the voicemail storage or I'll just touch on what your options are around that from a compliancy perspective. When storing, now this pertains to Exchange Unified Messaging. So if you're leveraging an archive solution and you want to store voicemails from a compliancy reason, going to a unified messaging store, whether it's Avaya or Microsoft, is the best route because you're going to have one archive solution for your compliancy strategy for both email and voicemail. If you don't want to archive from archive it and you don't require it from a compliancy standpoint, your archiving solution has a filter that can filter out and not archive the voicemails. And there's a question about what product, and this is back on the Exchange is actually, what application is actually doing the voice to text conversion. And this one is actually native to my Exchange So if you're accustomed to the Metari-based applications, Spinbox and their hosted in the cloud offering, this is embedded. Part of the server role, does not go off premise and does not have a subscription. We've done a comparison from the various Metari conversions with the Exchange and I would give just maybe slightly less accuracy compared to the Metari, but compared to the automated one in the cloud versus the on-premise Exchange one, I would say they're very close to being, they're very similar, but maybe Metari has the slight edge on that. Will the WAV file work on the iPhone? If we're talking Exchange typically we would store that in MP3, but the only times I've run into issues of playing voicemails was around some of the Androids and some older devices. The Android, you can download a client for that. All right, so who would handle the call control if you wanted to elevate the voice call to a video call? So this really comes into back around the remote call control integration where someone's called you or you've made a call or you've done a click to call and you want to escalate that to video. That is actually one of the caveats to a remote call control integration, that you cannot escalate that voice call to a video call. And the reason behind that is remember I said Avaya is controlling the voice. So you can't separate the voice stream from the video stream. So there's no way to escalate that up and allow that link to take that to a link video call because Avaya is controlling the voice. You can separately launch a video call and mute your microphone or drop off the audio call and just take that right to a video call, but no ability to escalate. And what about Link 2013? And I did not demo anything from Link 2013, but I can kind of quickly show you what the preview client looks like. There's no guarantee. Obviously, this is preview kind of beta, so we don't know what it'll look like once it's actually available. This is the Link 2013 preview client, and it is very much different from the 2010. It has a lot of the same functionality. They've changed the look. Where I would say is some feedback I've gotten, it's known as a Metro look, but they've moved over to kind of the Skype icons with their acquisition of Skype. There's a lot of great new feature sets, I would say, that's coming within Link 2013 that we can actually guide you on. If you're looking for a full-blown demo, we can actually do that as well. We do have 2013 running in our lab and actually using it semi-production as well. Some of the big ones that I would throw out there is Link 2010 did not support in the audio conferencing. You could do video, but it was active speaker only. With the 2013, it has a soft MCU, so it can display 5 points of presence, meaning it can display 5 people's videos simultaneously, is a very big one. All right, so there's a comment on, I don't know if it's a comment or a question. Office 365 dedicated is designed to support integration between premise-based PBX, Avaya, and Link within Office 365. Can you confirm this is accurate? Okay, so what has transpired in the Office 365 space and continues to evolve is early on there was no integration to the on-premise based PBX. There is actually now Microsoft has released, I don't know if it's Plan 4 or Plan 3, but they have released where you could have on-premise based mediation for audio. And we're still doing some due diligence to investigate into that, but it will not support remote call control integration. So what you're hearing about Link Office 365 integrating with on-premise based voice is more about mediation from a PSTN gateway and has nothing to do with the remote call control integration that I explained. Is the trunk side integration supported for CS1K using Session Manager? So the Session Manager, I get in this diagram, if you were to replace the Communication Manager with the CS1K. There is Session Manager integration with CS1000. Unfortunately, I have not seen a published interoperability guide with specifically CS1000, Session Manager, and Microsoft Link. I will take that as an action item to follow up to see if one of my coworkers has located one of those, or if Avaya has ever done any due diligence to test that. So I'm going to make a note. All right, so are Link users based on the 10-digit E.164 dialing? If so, how do we integrate 4-digit non-BID users? Very good question. As a requirement and a recommendation is for E164. So what can transpire is, this is really, and if you're not familiar with what E164 is, in the United States, E164 numbers would always start with a plus and a 1 and then be the 10-digit number. An example of if it was the UK, it would be plus 44, as that's their country code, and then whatever the follow-up number is, because they have some sites 10, I think, some sites 12. But so E164 is really about standardization and around a global, helps with very much with a global deployment, but it is much needed even in large scale, just deployments within the U.S. Because the one thing you have to realize about click to call is only as good as the number that the user is calling. So you want to standardize an Active Directory to E164. Now there's some rules where you can do some conversions and stuff, but the Session Manager can actually take, if the Communication Manager is a 4-digit station number and it's calling to Link, it could actually convert that 4-digit number to an E164 number. We just have to know the parameters around that. The AES does a very similar thing within the remote call control integration, that we have to build that out where it says, hey, 4-digit number that matches this pattern, here's the full pre-pin this E164, the +1 area code and the NXX number, And the reason is because in Link, you want reverse number lookup to work, and you should standardize on E164 within Link. So that was a great question, a little bit more technical, but yes, we all can make it work, and it is very important to have standardization. Scott had given us an example that their Communication Manager 5.2.1 with the full UC bundle, and they have a highly available AES 5.2, and they have modular messaging 5.2, and is asking, you know, what would we need to add to deploy this integration? And I would say first it goes back to at what level, so we need to do some upfront due diligence. What my team does commonly with our customers is we like to do a UC design assessment, and it could be 2 days on site, it could be 5 to 10 days on site, depending on the enterprise, where we'll come in and we'll meet with you, we'll help educate the team, understand what you have in place today, do an assessment of the environment, not only from the Avaya, the network, the Microsoft, the video-based solution, and doing envisioning sessions and present to you a strategy on how you can move forward with a sample project plan and what components you're going to need from a hardware perspective, from a licensing perspective. But I mean, Scott, it's kind of hard for me to answer that as, you know, you could leverage your AESs with the remote call control if you had OCS or Link stood up. I typically would comment to customers that if you're running a vital contact center solution with your current AES, that, you know, it needs to be up 24/7. I often would recommend to customers to go ahead and deploy a dedicated AES for this integration. Depends on what you're doing with that AES, whether we would want to, you know, leverage that same one or deploy a software-based AES or actual, you know, physical as well. But great questions. Is kind of, you know, we can definitely assist you, and I know that fits many customers. From the modular messaging perspective, I don't, you know, if you're a Avaya store, Exchange store, if you're Exchange store, you already have If you're a Avaya and you don't want to replace the Avaya store and you don't want to replace it, you could actually add like Matari EVM to get you closer to that unified messaging functionality as well. Functionality is the AES providing in this fully unified model, and the functionality that the AES is providing here is click to call and telephony presence. So whenever an Avaya, I'm a user on Link and I have an Avaya phone, I go off hook on my Avaya phone, my Link client shows me in a call. From my Link client or from anywhere I have smart tags, so an Outlook, SharePoint, if I do a click to call on a contact, it's actually going to ring my Avaya phone and then dial them. That would be the key, the component of what AES is providing. And I apologize if I have missed. I know there's several questions that I have not gotten to, and I know we're, you know, drawing closer on the top of the hour.
Yeah, Strider, hi, this is Valerie. If you want to take maybe one or two more questions, and then what I would do to, you know, encourage everyone to please call your NACR rep, and, you know, they can ask them these questions, and they can certainly get in touch with Strider or somebody from the team to help you. So thank you, Strider. You did an excellent job at getting to so many of them. If you want to go ahead and take maybe one or two more.
Yeah, I think I'll take one more, and it's from Nelson of, what are the restrictions of using AES integration to Link instead of Session Manager besides TrueSIP integration? So where I would comment on that is there are two total separate integration types, and often customers deploy both. And AES only gives you click to call and telephony presence. But if you wanted to leverage Link audio conferencing, AES does not provide any trunking between Communication Manager and Microsoft Link. That's where Session Manager or a third-party gateway comes into play to provide that trunking in between Communication Manager and Microsoft Link, so you can leverage either Link audio conferencing, both inbound, outbound dialing for Link audio conferencing. If you were going to leverage Link Enterprise Voice and you want the Enterprise Voice users to be able to call the Avaya users and vice versa, you're going to need that SIP integration. So Oftentimes, some customers only deploy maybe AES because they want IM and presence, desktop share, and click to call telephony present. While other customers feel that audio conferencing is very important to them, so they want to deploy Session Manager or a third-party gateway. They may not deploy the AES integration at that time and evolve to it later. So thank all of you very much for attending. I don't even know the final number of participants we had, but if you want to talk more and you want to see some demos, because I only had a little bit of time to do this and answer questions and talk architectural, please follow up with your NACR account rep, and we'd be more than happy to assist you in guiding you down this path.
Great.
Thanks, everyone, for attending.
Thank you. Thank you, Strider. Great job today. And for a hard copy of today's presentation, please, reach out to your representative. If you do not have a rep, please certainly send me an email, and I will be happy to put you in touch with one. My email address is vrodriguez@nacr.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.